I wanted to start off talking about the drywall material itself because I saw reports that range from 90 to 95% of all homes being built in America, the wall and ceiling interior is drywall.
Right.
I thought, that's a lot of drywall.
It is.
Where does this come from? And drywall, it's also called gypsum board because the primary ingredient is gypsum, and it's open pit mined using a lot of demolition.
Right.
So they'll blow up the side of the rock and then have trucks that'll take it. Then they bring it into crushers and they put it in these big, long. It looks very similar to a concrete kiln. These big round tubes that they go into and they heat it up and they dry it. Well, the funny thing is they dry it to get all the moisture out. Then when it comes out the other end, they add water to it to make a slurry.
Right.
And then it pours into these big molds where they've got the one side of paper that's the back side that collects it, and then the surface paper, because if you've ever had drywall, the exterior drywall is always a different color paper than the back brown drywall. So then that one goes on top, and it's in these massive sheets, just endless sheets. It's as long as the paper, these massive paper rolls. So a sheet between rolls can be hundreds of feet. But as it's coming, then they've got different types of blades that cut it in your 8 or 12 foot. Then it goes into another.
Actually, it goes up to 16 feet.
Oh, there are 16 feet sheets.
Yeah. So
you ever hung one of those by yourself?
No. Never even hung one. But yeah, those are for like big areas, big commercial stuff. Yeah, less butt joints. So excuse my language. That's a seam or two. Okay, there's your factory edge, and you have a standard edge, which we call the butt joint, because the factory seam has a recess. And you put two recesses together, it's a little concave. So when you tape it, it's nice and flat. A butt joint, the tape goes on top of two even boards, and so you really have to split them out. And the less of those you have, the smoother your finished job is going to be.
Less tape joints also means less labor, so less time installed.
Right, absolutely.
Once they're cut to size, they're then reheated again, and then after that, they go through the edging machine where they put the paper on the corners, and then whatever the length is, whether it's 8, 12, or as you said, 16, it's cut 8 feet wide, or it's made 8 feet wide. Then they cut it in half at the very end, and then they edge it and distribute it, and it can be recycled up to 10 times. So as a home is being remodeled now,
and that's something that I can see where that's recycled a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah.
The integrity is a little bit
goes down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you also have to have somebody that will take it to go be recycled.
Right.
Separating the drywall from the studs and removing the nails and then taking it to somewhere that's going to reprocess it.
Right.
But it can be. It can be. And we've got gypsum mines in Arizona. There's one in Winkleman, and then there's a big one in Las Vegas that I know we get a lot of drywall from because I see the trucks coming down US 60 all the time, bring it in. Then they have different types of finish. So there's the standard, there's waterproof that you often see, it's by code. You have to have those in the showers.
Right. Yeah.
Bathroom areas, anywhere it's wet. There's fire resistance, your
garages,
barrier to your garage, both attic and into the house,
or furnaces.
A lot of times, it's the standard interior is a 1/2 inch. The fire resistant is 5/8. And then you were saying they had vermiculite to that.
Oh, well, there's different types. There's type X. This is the most common, and it's what makes that is it's got some fiberglass mixed in it in the slurry, and then it's thicker. It's like 5/8, so it's for rigid. And then you have a type C that's the same thing, but they put vermiculite in it. I had to look that up because Romy's asking me these things before I came on here. I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this all these years and I never thought to look it up. So anyways, it's interesting. And so it's a vermiculite. It goes in some of it. And what that does with the fire rating, they have the slurry, they have they have that in there, and then they add water to it. And so when it heats up, it gets to a certain temperature, it causes steam. Well, I can't say that word, excuse me. Vermiculite it expands and it fills those voids where the steam left, where the water left, and it keeps it lasting. So that's like
tightens up any
voids,
making it more resistant to fire penetration.
Right, and that's usually about a 2-hour rating on those. So
it is meant to contain the fire for 2 hours.
Right,
give the fire department
like
time to get there, you to get out.
Yeah, the Type X is I think 1 hour rated. Unless you double it up, then you get 2.
So now we've got the drywall in the distribution. We get it ordered out to the job site. Typically speaking, and the process for hanging drywall, I'm just trying to get everybody up to the point of, how this was all put together in their home. So as we start talking through different maintenance and repairs, they can understand how it's all come together. But you would do the ceiling first.
Right. Do the ceiling first, and then you do your walls. And you want to make sure that when you're hanging the sheetrock, you want to stagger your butt joints and on the walls and the ceilings. And the reason you do that is with wood. Well, you don't have to do that all the time with metal in commercial buildings. But let's get back to the house first, the residential. The residential, wood framing. Wood framing is never straight, and so when you stagger your joints, not only does it strengthen the sheetrock or the walls, you're also distributing the stress in those walls. So that's the way you do it.
And I guess just to back up on the wood side of it, before the sheetrock's installed on the way you're supposed to build a stick frame home, is your roofing material is supposed to be on top, not set, but just all the tile or all the shingles set up on the
absolutely
for a month. So
settling.
So all the wood settles and So there'll be a lot of times when you're installing, and it's easier to hide on the ceiling, but when you get to the walls, I've seen a lot of times where people have had to put furring strips on studs just to give it an even
extra
back to screw it into. Otherwise, drywall can bend, and there's even techniques where you can wet it for radius corners and make it very pliable. So if your studs aren't straight, you're gonna get that wavering in your.
And especially if it lands on a butt joint. So, and if you had all your butt joints lined up, that would become a weak spot also. So again, you're distributing the sheetrock and.
So to do that, once the ceiling's done, let's say. When we're doing a wall, and the way, 4x8 is standard, the drywall and plywood, because homes used to be 8 feet tall. A lot of them are 10 or and 9 feet or 12 feet tall ceilings now, but it was designed so that you would have 2 sheets of plywood and drywall, a top and a bottom. You would put a full 4x8 up, and you anchor that one first. The top one. So then you would take a piece of drywall, cut it in half. So you've got a 4x4, and you start that one. And that's how you're staggering your butt joints.